T1-esque just because they have a little bit more kind of brawl and fight, and of course they have heavily lent on the fact of the previous patch, kind of the T8 carry,
right.
The Kunkka, the Pangela, these are all heroes that were still somewhat prominent. So yeah, I'm gonna say just T1's playstyle hopefully is gonna be the big shock here, because from Spirit, if you look at their heroes, this honestly feels like they're still playing 7.29 right now. This is kind of the same vibe that they had in the previous, but maybe there's a different flair they're gonna bring in. Again, like we talk about the patch though, fundamentally they didn't really change too much in regards to how the game was going to be played. Because like when you open up that patch notes, the general changes, it was like 4 or 5 bullet points at best, and that is the meat of any patch. Any pro player, they don't look for the hero changes first, they look for the general. In that general changes, it's going to have map, economy, XP, all that stuff. That wasn't really tweaked with. So as much as we say it's a big patch, it is still going to be the same kind of nuances going from one to the other, unlike previously where it's been a much bigger change.
Definitely makes a lot of sense here, and sometimes there's something to be said, although hold on to that thought. The toss back over onto Whitemon here. They want to secure up that route, and they want to make sure that they get themselves an early lead here. So Miposhka will be the one to draw the first blood on Whitemon.
It's so bad for this. Oh. Still the fact it's nighttime before the bounty run, so he's standing there in the river like all happy days, and suddenly everyone appears. So unfortunate. I love that change, and that's a previous patch thing anyway. I'm just going to reminisce on it. I just love the fact that we start at night, moving into day.
It is a pretty neat change, definitely. One that like a lot of people don't really consider until you get to see it, at this pro level with the vision changes. But, going back to your earlier thought, the fact that, Team Spirit is playing, maybe stuff that seems a little bit more comfortable, might be a little bit older in terms of the patch. Definitely something interesting, because how much can be said, going for the tried and true, going for stuff that you're very comfortable with when you're a little bit uncertain as to, what the next meta is going to be.
Well, that's the thing. They spoke about it on the panel, the idea of like the push meta, but I think every time that like a bigger patch drops, most of the pub scene, the pro scene, whatever, they gravitate towards taking objectives quickly, because people are still trying to understand what's actually good, how to deal with these kind of newer kind of things, and I think there's not really solutions to problems. And the easiest way to play Dota at all MMRs is simply just push your way out of the game, take these early towers and go. So I think, yeah, for sure, I think for Spirit, this is like their way of keeping themselves comfortable. Ban some of the heroes they think might be good, but just go for something that they're going to enjoy. And like, if you think about the lineup, the 1-for-1 kind of idea of the draft, like they spoke about it on the panel a little bit. It's the idea that T1 is going to be aggressive and Spirit will scale. But I think Spirit also has an issue at some point where the messiness of the team fights, they don't have that clean lockdown outside of like the mag RP. There's soft control with Tiny and Invoker, but going later into the game, it's a lot of emphasis on Magnus having that perfect initiation. So I think Spirit with this type of lineup, they need to find that nice kind of 20-minute style window where they can control the game, play on the Tiny, play on the Invoker, and then ride that network lead out. So I think if it's always even throughout the entire game, T1 will have the edges. The pressure is applied to Yotaro in the bot lane.
No, he was like Taro's at the last second. He does end up going down, and Whitemon, of course, also falling in the other lane.
Oh, and a tip. Oh,
and the tip. Here it goes. Here we go.
Beautiful. Nice little cheeky tip, but he doesn't tip instantly. Of course, he lets it, mature for a little bit, lets him think about the death, and then bam, hits him when he respawns.
Well, you had a whole theory about that a while back, talking about, do tips actually matter? Does they, is the mental warfare something that...
Again, it really depends on the player. I know some players, they get better after being tipped. They have to prove themselves, and other players, they crumble. 1 tip, 2 tip, 3 tip, they're out, they're gone. They've already GG'd out and going to the next game because they just can't, recover. But, luckily at this level, tips probably don't really matter anymore. It's been a couple years.
It's a bit more of a meme probably, unless you really are starting to get beat down, right?
No, exactly, yeah. I will, again, I haven't cast in a bit, but the best tip you can ever do is tip a guy who's not even part of the fight, Just like, why weren't you here?
Where were you, Tim?
Exactly, like right now, like Cuckoo, he tipped Yotaro. Realistically, you could like tip the Tiny, for example.
Yeah, that's the next level.
Exactly.
He's like, why did he tip me? Why would he do this to me?
Realistically, 3 minutes, you don't want your Tiny bot lane, but you get the idea. You can extrapolate that to maybe like a minute 12 death, for example.
Good indeed. Whitemon's sitting a bit low here. Of course, is going to keep stacking up Decay to the best visibility. Kind of very interesting lanes going on here. Obviously, the bottom lane seems to be pretty difficult for Yatoro here. But They're just going to keep trading, and you know, how much can a Phoenix really do supporting in lane against this duo?
Not really that much, because I think you have this Tidebringer on the Kunkka, and of course like the cleave got a little bit reduced, but the damage did get increased, and that alone will just be able to just spam out. And I think even though I think it's like 5 on each level or something, or okay 20 at max level, but still it's like this Kunkka will just be able to sit there and constantly fight. And I think if you compare the 5s on Spirit to T1, you got this Phoenix who's kind of watching. You can't really trade with this this Phoenix, and then you got Undying in top lane. He's bullying, he's fighting, he's getting inside. Oh, beautiful toss into Skewer.
Yeah, push him right back, but 23 Savage is going to be able to teleport right back to his tower, get healed up, and be ready to go right back to business.
Yeah, Mira's going to be a little bit upset there because obviously had to use the Avalanche to connect on the toss, and that then meant you couldn't then cancel the TP out after. But very quick reaction from 23 Savage there to just instantly TP. But the CS right now, the last hits are a little bit filthy. Of course, Kunkka being able to farm the camps and the waves, so you could build a little bit of a lead there. But yeah.
I mean, you expect that, though, when you consider the fact that Kunkka does have, the Tidebringer, you've got TA who's got the side blades. These are heroes that should be able to get that advantage and just take off with that CS.
Yeah, exactly. Like Spirit right now, they are looking towards, like, don't feed away too many deaths in lane. They're doing well. They've got 2 kills. And then around minute 15, like when they pick up that maybe Diffusal SMY on PL, run at T1 relentlessly. Like, don't try and play for late game. Don't try and utilize this Empower to, outgreed. Just get in the faces of T1 and, punish the fact that Undying needs Tombstone, Pango needs Row, and if these spells are down, you just keep going and going again.
And Toro and Maposhka making plays over onto Cuckoo, not going to be able to quite finish him off, although they do with the Fire Spirits. Last one don't quite connect. Is it going to be enough? Oh, 8
Oh, there it is.
HP. Ah, there it is. Maposhka finds him in the tree lines and burns him down.
I won't lie, from this angle, I couldn't even see if he had another Spirit. I'm probably just blind. I need glasses. Like, does he have one more?
You do need glasses. We've been over this too. You know that you need glasses. You just haven't picked them up yet.
I was going to go to the opticians in Ukraine, but like, I was worried that they have a different alphabet and I might just get the letters wrong.
I'm sure they will provide you with a different alphabet if you tell them that.
I'm making excuses. I'll go after ESL. I promise.
All things fall. Well, yeah, they did manage to secure it, though, as said. And, another thing about these supports, you think about Undying, he's very much a lane dominator. He's supposed to help, gain that advantage, whereas Phoenix tends to be a little bit more defensive. The Flame Spirits are nice. They do a little bit. And depending on the matchup, right, you can make things happen with, like, an axe. But hold that thought, the Avalanche over here, and they have that sentry to go right back by the tower. Just trying to put out as much damage as they possibly can to 23 Savage. And they just need to close that gap a little bit more, but they don't quite have it here. And again, Undying going to be able to go just help heal up 23 Savage again.
It's so close every time. But I love the cuteness of this combo. It's the toss into Skewer. Like, we haven't seen this in some time, and it's refreshing to see. Like, if it was any other hero than like a TA with that refraction, that carry would be dying quite a lot. So I think even if it's not being like amazingly successful right now, think about in the future, if it's a different matchup, a different carry, that could just be 2-3 deaths right now, and T1 are going to be in a big spot of bother. But TA, of course, didn't really get too many changes to remove out the game.
There we go again, right back towards the tower. Mira's trying to do everything they can. Nice shockwave. Can they finish the TP from Toronto Tokyo? The cold snap. Down will go 23 Savage as Whiteman is forced to retreat, and they'll help themselves to a little bit of Tombstone Gold if they can get it.
Denied, yes.
No, they can't get it, but the toss back, maybe they'll be able to get themselves an Undying instead, as Whiteman is out of mana here. He's trying. Toronto Tokyo just leisurely clicking away. He's trying to think about that deny, but he's not going to give the advantage, because down goes Whitemon.
Yeah, really nice rotation from Toronto Tokyo, because if he didn't TP in there, we'd have seen the same story. He was just refractions on TA, walks away.
They're going to try to make the plays on Teatro down bottom. Boat doesn't quite connect, though. Phantom Lancer will live to lance another day. Maposhka, those Flame Spirits, again, very fun when you just watch the enemy team not able to hit you.
Yeah. That's the repercussions of the level 1X there. If you hit any higher, he would be able to connect onto PL, drag him back into the boat, but you're crushing the lane with just 3 points Tidebringer. You don't really need to go for the X play too often, but yeah, just a lot of pressure in this safe lane. Yotaro only 27 CS, he's struggling. But he'll have the recovery mechanisms with the Magnus. The question is, are they really making any stacks in top? Well, they're not. You think about it, they're having to use both heroes in this Radiant offlane together, the Tiny and Magnus playing the combos to get them under the tower. That means they're not making stacks, and you compare that to Zephyr right now, the Pangolea, he's making the stacks in the jungle, already a triple stack on the Ancient, so yeah, a little bit more efficient right now from T1 in the map.
And they have so many heroes that are able to take these stacks too, which just really lends itself nicely to T1. Whereas over on the side of Team Spirit, you know, they struggle a bit more. They do have the Magnus, obviously, but there's no inherent built-in for anyone else on the side.
Yeah, and they can't really invade either, right?
You could probably do it with the Tiny, my bad, but
well,
it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not really that clean, especially with a support Tiny going more for Avalanche and Toss.
Uh-oh, Cuckoo toss up the air, but Toss not quite enough damage as the Phoenix does fly by there. But
very tanky. You know, phase boots, double bracer. He has the boat as well if he really wants to make sure he doesn't die there. And I think, yeah, right now for Spirit, Mira, really nice movement. Of course, he left the top lane, realized he doesn't need to make this play anymore. He scouted out the stacks. I'd like to see maybe the Invoker connect with the Tiny just to apply some fight around this ancient area, because you don't want T1 to have that clean entry to the game. You know, they farm the lanes, they farm the stacks, they do everything. Oh, but instead he just dies.
Well, I mean, Mira, he was trying.
No.
He got some scouting done, but unfortunately he is going to pay for that with his life. And
he's now an additional stack to the jungle.
You know, we are on boot camp here over at ESL, so that is something that I'll have to work on in that training. But boat will come through here. Maposhka still got that Icarus dive available. Torrent up into the air, is just going to soar away as Yatoro follows up, pokes away at Cuckoo and says, "Don't touch my bird."
Speaking of boot camp, Carl saying about preparing for a lesson. What lesson we don't know? Oh, they're disconnected.
Well, they are playing. I believe most of them are playing from a boot camp.
Yeah, they're all probably just gonna be at the same hotel, right? Because
I imagine, are they all in?
I'd assume so. Unless they just decided to all get different places. Because wait, what teams are actually? So Spirit will be in Romania, T1 will be in Romania, Thunder Predator will be, PSG, Beast. Yeah, every team bar Empire, Creep Wave, Liquid, and Alliance, I think, are there, and obviously Tundra as well.
Can you imagine being a Romanian Dota 2 fan and then like hoping like maybe I'll run into one of my favorite players today? I'm not sure what their their quarantine situation is like over there either, but.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that one LAN where everything's back to normal. Whew. Gee, that's going to be good.
It's going to be awesome. Get to see all of our friends again. I'm sure everyone at home too. They miss seeing their friends at all the LANs.
Oh, he's going for an armlet on Kunkka. Really leaning into the right click. Sometimes the offlane Kunkkas in previous patch, they'd go for a little bit more aura and just kind of exist within the game, go eventually for an Ags, but Cuckoo, he's really going to become another core.
He's very tanky, but there's a lot of damage being tossed over on him. There's no mana left either, and they should just be able to click him down.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo doing a really good job just kind of connecting into the side lanes to try and get the kills needed. Like, if he wasn't there, this game would be a little bit different.
There's a cheeky little snatch there from Zephyr, but Mira, again, will end up paying for his discretions here.
The sacrificial lamb of Team Spirit.
The space maker, some might say.
Yeah, I think, realistically, like, these deaths, they aren't really the worst because it is allowing, the Magda farm top, Invokers then killing bot. Like, they are keeping the active heroes that want to try and make these earlier fights. Like, Undying, Pangolier, they are kings of early aggression. So I honestly don't mind Tiny just kind of running around and, tanking a couple spells or two. I think, realistically, you probably need to stop after your third or fourth, but, we're still in the space making time of the Tiny gameplay, because like there's not really a lane for him to farm, right? Like Mag soaks up a lane, PL soaks up a lane, Invoke, like there's nowhere right now for them to happily play, because Spirit, they don't take early towers, they don't invade the jungle early, so they are locked into a kind of an untraditional style of play, which is just sit in lanes and farm until we really have to leave the lane.
But that is one thing that over the course of the previous DPCs that we really started to notice with Team Spirit is that they're excellent at realizing when their timings are. And when they have those timings, they usually play very, very clean. Yeah. T1 also just a fantastic team. They won the summer tournament as well. And they're very aggressive. So it's interesting to see the way that both of these teams, clearly they've done some studying on each other and have kind of adapted, but also, realizing that Team Spirit is going to wait and take their time to make sure they have absolutely everything that they need before they start getting overly aggressive.
And you see that from the net worth, right? The fact that, TA is #1, but it's Team Spirit's cores who are sitting quite close behind, and it's because they aren't really making the moves. Mira is the one moving around the map. Like, the position 4 is bottom net worth because he's kind of gone through the fact that I will just happily die for the team. Ember, Pangolin, these heroes kind of getting baited into wanting to kill this Tiny. Like, why is he on our side of the map? Get him away. And it is allowing Spirit to hit, like you said, that kind of farm efficiency to hit that key timing, because like it is so fundamental with their lineup. They hit a strong timing, and then they just go, and they don't stop and reset. They just continue just going with their items and just getting in the face of T1. No, I like it so far. It's casual. It's a slow start to the game. Nothing too crazy.
Well, it's interesting too because we haven't had any real moves towards the towers. Granted, we don't have very, crazy early tower hitters, but Collapse here is just going to saunter on out with the teleport, Mira, and they've brought a lot of attention up here to this top lane because they're trying to reclaim it over on the side of T1. And again, Mira here, he's
oh, the poor
just
soul.
tossed back. He's got the piggy pole though, but this little piggy is not going to make it home, I don't think, this time around. Otherwise, I see that they follow up with the RP, and it's beautiful. The follow-up here now from Yatoro. They're going to be able to possibly go finish off on Zephyr. I don't think he's got anything to save him at this point.
Okay, so this little piggy pole thing, I swear, it's actually a bait item. But for once, in the first game that I've actually watched, it technically worked. It baited T1 into thinking this little piggy gonna die, and then wait a second, he didn't. Refreshing. 10% move speed, that's all it gives you. And you hex yourself for 4 seconds. This is going to be the item of TI. Because there are going to be moments where players hex themselves, but then they can't cancel someone's TP, or they kill themselves because they hex. Like, there's going to be so many, Twitch chat will love this item when it is used incorrectly. Oh, it's going to be so refreshing.
Well, I mean, that's something I know Cinderin was talking about it. He loves the items that are a situation where if you use them, you're sacrificing something. Yeah. So it's high risk, high reward. So it has the potential to make these incredible plays. But if you mess it up, boy, are you going to mess up.
So
it might come back to haunt you. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a game-winning sort of thing, Somebody just, I doubt it, because, you're probably using something better than a piggy pole.
Yeah, I don't think this little tier 1 pig pole is going to be the...
But imagine, T. Tower does, though, indeed go down. Maposhka hiding off on the side of the tree line. Toronto Tokyo, though, and Yatoro are here, and they're just going to chip away over at Cuckoo. There's a Zed Kanka.
Yeah, I think that we were mentioning earlier about tower taking. I think this is the big discrepancy of TA mid to safe lane, is the rotations we saw from Invoker. If that was a mid TA, that mid tower would have fallen very quickly and would have seen kind of T1 be able to open up the map very naturally. But because it's a TA safe lane, you don't have that natural kind of pressure, and you have to see the rotation happen at 30 minutes to go bottom. And we've seen it, already quite a lot. This is going to be Mira going down once again. It's only 3 deaths, to be fair. It feels like 7 at this point, but it is only 3, just to be very clear.
But in that sense, isn't that a good thing, right? The fact that it feels like he's being more bothersome than he actually is.
Yeah.
Because that indicates that he's making
It really isn't that bad, honestly. Like, people right now might be looking at him going, like, what's he doing? But he is bottom net worth. He's got just a pure Tranks trying to go for the Blink Dagger, but it's when he connects with the team, the couple kills that he should be getting subsequently from that, that's where he'll recover. And I like the idea of, sacrificial gameplay. Like, we see it a lot between off lane and 4, where sometimes we see the off lane sacrifice their game to give the 4 more entry to the game, more farm, the free rotate. But this type of play right now, it's the 4 sacrificing himself for the 5. And we haven't really seen that too much, honestly, but yeah, it's somewhat working out right now. It is giving Team Spirit at least space to farm on the map.
So who needs to connect over here on T1 to start making these plays, trying to slow them down? Because they're doing over on the side of Team Spirit exactly what you wanted them to see, is to get a little bit of this advantage and keep up momentum. Whereas T1, who typically, they like to fight very early, have kind of taken a little bit of a seat back just to, farm up and make sure that they get what they need as they use an RP over in the mid lane. The toss up into the air and down.
Collapse, no. You're not meant to take that. That was Mira's comeback kill, Like, he had the avatar, he was ready for it.
Well, they're going to try to make some plays here as they do root Toronto Tokyo in place, but they have the Sunray. Could turn it back around. A bit of damage coming out, but it looks like they might... No, Yatoro was thinking about going right back in as he takes down that tombstone. And the rest of Team Spirit, they've got their foot on the gas pedal. You can see more teleports coming out here into this mid lane. Do they want to take this fight, T?
I think T1, honestly, when you look at the Ember right now, that's the key factor. He's trying to go for a Battle Fury. Sometimes you might have seen like a Maelstrom by now, if it was like a previous game or a different build-up. But yeah, Carl, he's going a bit greedier. I think that's where you ask about T1 wanting to make plays, and you see just from itemization alone, they don't want to fight at all. And Collapse, he's just going fishing.
Yeah, he just
twice in a row.
Right again. The sea captain is spending a lot of time in the river and the water, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but they're looking to make a play. All right, Zephyr's going to start with the Rolling Thunder here. Gets the hit off over onto Yatoro. They do manage to take down the Phantom Lancer. Egg is up, though. Trying to go for the skewer back. They're not going to be able to connect over to Carl, but they do manage to get the stun off as they drive right back. Again, another kill coming out here for Maposhka. His disarm's going to have to run. Toronto Tokyo backing up with Collapse. 23 Savage. He's looking for this opening, but
this fight had 2 tombstones. This was a 2 tombstone fight at minute 17. That lasted forever. Oh.
Oh,
Go
no,
fish it again.
They just go and they jump on 23 Savage, throw out the ice wall. Do they have
Protection.
the protection here? Nullspread comes out, still trying to make these fights, but they've got that Spirit Vessel. The mana's burnt. Meatball tossed out with the Sunray. They finally take down Collapse, but they'll take down 23 Savage as well. What a fight.
This is beautiful. Yeah, this is a great fight. But yeah, I think Spirit instantly identified the fact that T1 is being very, very greedy, and the fact that like Ember, this was the pick to deal with the PL, right? Like if you look at T1's heroes, they have a Pangolin that can, you know, go Maelstrom, can find ways to deal with PL, but you needed like another additional core. And of course Ember, he wants to go Battle Fury and find ways to clear out the illusions. But that does put you in a position of, we can never really fight. Like TA, you go Dragonlance Deso, if you want to hit a tower, you need at least one additional core. And if Pango and Ember are kind of greeding it up, you just need to play back on your own side of the map, and that is why we are seeing Spirit, you know, turn up the aggression a little bit. And so far with this Magnus, they're finding a lot of clean jumps and kills. But I think it's the Yatara, unfortunately, on the PL, him continuously trying to hit the tower. Like, it is a PL without Manta against Roots, against this kind of like awkwardness of early fights, but PL can instantly die. That is the best thing of the hero. You can kill him easily early on, but then he eventually becomes unkillable, and that's where I think if Spirit kind of clean up a little bit, they can get a bit in their face.
All right, well, the aggression is on now from T1. They're smoked up, and they're hoping to grab themselves Mirror, but they do find Maposhka over here. So jump forward, Rolling Thunder with the Torrent will connect a big old ghost boat, and it's not enough to save them this time around Maposhka, as they will back off now.
Yeah. And this is where T1, they're going to be really happy with the fact that they found the Phoenix but killed the PL. And Yatara, he's probably now telling his team, guys, please, I don't want to be in these awkward areas. Let me just farm my Manta. Because if I have a Manta there, I'm jumping, running away, I'm loving life, right? Because like the stuns on T1, it's an X, it's a Torrent, a boat, a Root, and then like Rolling Thunder, right? Like there's a lot of soft committal style stuns. It's not like the Earthshaker Slam, the Chrono, right? It's not like a clean way to kill this PL, and that's where, you know, I think Yatara is going to probably go, yeah, let me hit some creeps for a little bit. Killing was fun, but farming's a little bit more enjoyable.
It's a little spooky to consider, you know, the fact that Team Spirit, you know, they're looking very strong in this early game. But if you look at the net worth difference, it's not big. It's, you know, they've had a lot of fights over the side of T1, but they have been farming very, very well. And so does that worry you at all for Team Spirit?
I guess it's mainly the idea of how do they deal with the big fight that will come from T1, where it'll be like Ember with Battle Fury plus one item, the TA with the BKB. I think that fight will be the messiest fight for Team Spirit to deal with.
It's the meme number over there, the T1 with the 3-2-2.
Look at that, yeah. Oh, they've lost, confirmed. Oh well, sorry T1. That's how Dota works. But yeah, I think, yeah, realistically, I think Spirit, they aren't too concerned right now. Like the games, they're doing well, but I think it's just, they are taking pretty good fights around Collapse. And I think realistically, we can't get too carried away because the last 2 minutes, it's been Collapse died mid, they still take the fight, PL gets picked off. Like the game plan's still very, very even. And I think Spirit, they're so confident right now because they have this Magnus. They have this ability to always be able to lock down the Ember or the TA. Like whoever's the bigger threat, just RP them, just kill them. Go next, and then that's going to be how they're going to play this game. Just kite out with the Invoker. Maybe Mira gets to sacrifice himself again for the team. He enjoyed doing that in the first 15 minutes. And, you know, then take the fight from there. And like you have the Yules on the Poshka already. Like they have these ways to get out of the kite. Because you know, T1, when they join a fight, they are going to be in it. You know, Kunka's going to commit his spells. Panga's going to roll in. Like there's not really a way for them to get out of the fight again and then go. Like it's kind of like everyone's in or out.
Yeah, you could say that for both sides for sure, especially if you commit that RP. That's a big deal.
Exactly.
But everybody's just dodging right now. They're trying to get their farm on, trying to secure themselves up. Although you do have Toronto Tokyo here on the side. He is doing a little bit of scouting, not finding anyone really over in the bottom area. And Kuku playing it very safe here, making sure that he X's himself just to...
This is big timing coming from T1. Like, Kunka just completed his BKB, and then TA just completed her BKB. Ember has the Battle Fury. Like, if they want to continue farming for Ember to get the SMY after or that additional item, sure, but realistically, this is where T1 can just, you know, run head-on into Spirit with another clean smoke, because PL has the Manta, but I don't think you can really enjoy a team fight with just a Manta now once they have the BKBs. Like, you aren't really going to be doing damage.
It's like you're a mind reader, too. As soon as you said that, they immediately smoked up, T.
Oh, there we go.
There's an initiation. They found Collapse. It's going to just skew away. Look at these Power Ranger TPs coming out, immediately responding, protecting their team. 23 Savage, though, just trying to put a little bit of damage over on the tower. Does a good chunk of it. Fuels will get placed over here on Whitemon, plus the Avalanche toss up into the air. Yatro's here, and he's looking to get himself a kill. So, fortunately, Whitemon not going to live up to that name, Undying, this time around.
Collapse tried going fishing on the Admiral, but this time he had a better boat, otherwise known as BKB. And
yes, the SSBKB,
yeah.
a wonderful boat.
So, yeah, here the Cougar had to use the BKB, and that's why they instantly go to Roshan. There's no Tombstone. Of course, the Undying is dead. Can they go for this? Yeah.
I mean, they can. The Undying's going to be up in just a couple seconds here. You still have boat. You've got multiple ways to enter this, so they have to be a bit careful here. Mira, though, trying to get right in the middle of them.
Get into the pit, mate. Go on, off you go.
Well, he is smart. He kept the Remnant up. They're just going to be annoying as possible here over on the side of T1. They want to make sure that they cannot have this. The smoke does come out, though, very close to the pit, even, as they're going to try to make themselves just find a pick-off, perhaps.
And this is where TA is such a strong hero, because you see the traps on the steps. You can just position a hero on the high ground if needed. You're going to break that smoke, have the vision. You got it inside Roshan, and on, like, it's so hard for Spirit to cleanly make this play.
Okay, so they should have noticed that they dropped the ward over there. Mira, though, jumping forward immediately, skewing back. They want to get rid of Kuz. He's stuck just over here on the cliffside. Zephyr following up, though, with the Rolling Thunder, the boat coming through. BKB protecting Kick as well. Now, as Zephyr's just rolling on through, and just trying to keep them alive here coming out from Aposhka. We did have the buyback coming out from Mira. Over on the side, though, Whitemon, trying everything he can, but he can't survive, unfortunately. 23 Savage waiting patiently. They get the RP off. Collapse, just trying to dish out the damage. Plus the egg. Are they going to be able to take down 23 Savage? It's looking pretty darn good. The egg pops. Collapse goes down. Cuckoo also to full here as Mira just pokes away at the rest of T1. Carl thinking he wants to go back in. A little bit off the mark, though, with the swashbuckle. Now they have to be careful. Avalanche connecting over onto Ku. Goes right over to the tower. Maposhka's got that Sunray trying to keep tabs on him, and it looks like they're going to go for a bit of a dive here. Sunstrike comes through, doesn't quite connect. As Spirit is diving this tower, they want this Ember Spirit, but he is just so slippery, they can't get their hands on him.
What a beautiful fight from Spirit. And it's the whole idea of, like, when you enter a fight, you need to commit to it. And for T1, they walk from their high ground area, they put the Tombstone in the low ground. Like, they don't have that clean connection of the kill. And then Spirit, they get to play around all their kind of movement spells. They start the fight with Kunkka on the cliff. They then have Tiny die, but he buys back into then a toss into then the egg exploding. Like, yeah, Spirit, just a really beautiful team fight.
Ooh, the toss back again on Carl. This time he doesn't have a Remnant to immediately run away to. Is he going to be able to take down Mira, though? Yes, he will. That is a die back. So throw out the ice wall. They want to slow them down. This Roche is getting low. Whitemon walking forward. In comes Zephyr. You love to see it if you're a Pango player. Everybody in the pit, but the root comes out over onto Yatro, and they take down the PL. And it looks like they're going to try to get the kill onto the Feast. Does have the Icarus dive, though. He's going to be able to zip away. Collapse, finding himself a victim. It is Zephyr. Can they burn down this Pango? He's got those charges. He's got a Whitemon behind him, too, to keep him alive. Carl searching, trying to grab any stragglers. Knows that Maposhka is very, very low. Is he going to go for the play? He wants him, but there it is. There's the Yule play as Maposhka hiding into the tree line. Does get rooted up, though, and he will fall. 23 Savage in the pit, fighting with Collapse. Who's going to get it? It's going to be 23 Savage. Dyer takes it, and this is most likely going to be a dead Collapse. They have the trap. No. Can they get there fast enough? Magnus does have the blink, though. I think he's going to be all right. He has an Essence Ring as well, and just sidestepping, breaking the ankles, dancing around the map. They're trying. They drop the traps, and eventually 23 Savage just says, you know what? Not worth my time.
They have a scan. Do they want to waste it? Nope. They're using traps, though. To be fair, Collapse, this is very, very patient here. Most players, they'd start clicking around the trees. They're like, ooh, let's scurry around. And he just stands his ground. But I praise Spirit on their big team fight, the execution, how they, utilize Skewer, Tiny, Toss into Egg. It was great. But then they instantly go back into Roshan. We're going to see the tail end of the fight here, and I think, unfortunately for Spirit, I think they got a little bit too excited with the fact that they just outplayed a team like T1. And then it's like, oh, we'll just go Roshan. That's just win, fight, go Rush. It's like Dota 101, but they don't really have the ability to cleanly 100 to 0 it quickly. And that's where T1, they just identify that. And their heroes, they want to take these continuous fights. They want to utilize their shorter cooldowns compared to like the traditional bigger team fights. And yeah, T1 just run straight back, and then now they kind of break down Spirit, and I think Spirit will be kicking themselves a little bit because that was meant to be their Roshan. They could have easily been patient, waited, maybe even take another fight before they truly commit, and that little bit of kind of desire to go for it straight away after one fight just gives T1 like entry to controlling this game now.
I mean, you've enabled 23 Savage on this TA, although as we say that, they immediately skewer back to toss up with the RP. They blow up Whitemon. BKB is buying a little bit more time here for 23 Savage as he's just trying to deal with all this, but it's just too much coming out from Yatoro.
I take it
he's
back.
coming back up again. Nice tornado over onto the backline. Zephyr jumping forward. 23 Savage gets thrown up into the air. They're trying to protect him. The egg does come out though, and she's disarmed. This TA is not looking like she's going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot. She gets right back towards the egg. They're just handling 23 Savage right now as he will eventually fall, and they'll find the kill on Zephyr as well. He is left behind here. He's trying everything. He manages to land a nice torrent, but it's not going to be enough as Carl now is just trying to run. He's out of remnants. He doesn't have much of anything right now. He's just trying to get away, but they just keep hunting him. They keep running back in. They've got a Yule's up right up into the air. There's going to be the ice wall. Oh, he's just clawing, slowly just crawling out of the way. Can they finish up with Mapochka? Mapochka does eventually fall, but so does Carl.
And T1 does what Spirit does. Like, they win a fight and they're like, go again. Whereas this is so much fighting occurring. Yeah, and then T1, they go for this mid tower and they kind of throw a little bit too many bodies. And Spirit, once again, they do show, kind of highlight how strong they are when they have the egg. And I think Mira on his Tiny, he's always tossing or even collapse. Like these two, they are being amazing fishermen. Like, how do you start a fight when your TA with an Aegis is underneath the tier 1 tower, then covered by an egg? Like all the, like Kunkka was disarmed. You've got two heroes trying to hit the egg. Unfortunately, they can't really do it. Aggressively yours as well. Like, yeah, T1 just, they didn't even have that bad a positioning. It's just Spirit instantly identifying when they were just close enough to bring them to that kind of kill point. And yeah, Spirit straight back in the game. After I thought T1 was going to be able to methodically kind of play around the Aegis, they didn't really respect Magnus or Tiny, and yeah, Spirit taking the advantage once again in the big team fights.
I mean, we've said this time and time again. Whenever collapses,
fish again.
Exactly. Just toss right back over on Zephyr. He's gonna have to go and blink away, roll on out Autobots, and just does not want to take this. But as we were saying, you know, every time we see collapse on this Magnus, he performs so well. He just has a very good understanding of this hero. He has a very good understanding of positioning, and it's one of those kind of killer instincts, I would say, that you see a lot of mid players. They see an opening and they immediately make the jump, and it feels like that with Collapse. He just sees the opening, immediately goes for it, whether or not there's enough people around him, which sometimes can come to bite him in the butt. But top lane, Kunkka, Collapse, just pushing right back to Mira, right back to Yatoro. They use an RP, they use a Sunstrike, they use everything in the kitchen sink. And down goes Kunkka.
Yeah, and this style of Magnus, of course, this isn't a 7.30 change. It is simply the fact that the Horn toss is shard in previous patches. That is kind of giving him the additional simplicity of the fight, and that is kind of giving Collapse that platform. And from what looked like T1 was in a really, confident position to just continue scaling, they have just found such excellent pickoffs, like you mentioned. So, yeah, Collapse really putting some emphasis on Magnus being a key hero for Spirit, at least so far.
And then again, Collapse just finding a target. Wants to get rid of the Undying as fast as possible. The Greaves will get popped, though. It's not enough to keep him alive. And Zephyr is just rolling around, trying to make as much chaos as possible, but it's going to be hard. You still don't have your Kunkka up. 23 Savage, he wants to go forward. You can tell he wants to do something here as Carl, trying to just put out his own damage. A couple of these hits off Mira, though, in the position. The toss right back on Zephyr. Is he going to survive this? He's going to have to skewer away. The egg comes out. He's burning down. The tree toss comes out. Down goes Zephyr. Egg popped here. Will they respect it, though, is now the question, because the Kunkka's back up. They don't have some of these big spells.
This is one of those moments where Invoker can also grief his PL.
Whoa, again, Collapse finding himself a target. Carl, though, he wasn't prepared for that. He doesn't have a way to get out. Rest of the team, there it is. There's a tornado. Throw out some of those waves, Carl. Does indeed go down. Yatoro just beating away over on 23-7. Toronto-Tokyo is still alive somehow, and the BKB is done over here on Q. Can they finish them off? Can they get there fast enough? The slide just right forward. The buyback coming out now from this Ember as Collapse finds himself another victim. 23-7 just separated from his team. Toronto-Tokyo, though, does eventually fall. 23-7, he's still alive. Collapse finally gets taken down over on side the base, but 23 Savage somehow still alive after everything is said and done, and as he eventually gets pulled by Mira. Mapochka next to fall. Zephyr rolling around. Can they finish them off? Can they get the final hit here? It's looking pretty darn good as Yatoro finally falls, and eventually so does Mira.
Yeah, Carl, he did have to buy back for this fight, but these are... Oh, another pause. Nice, we have to truly think... Yeah, TA... It's just the collapse show. That's all I have to say, really, right? It's just every single fight is just Magnus going on in, bringing someone else out, and I think, yeah, like Mirror and Collapse right now, they are really putting on a clinic on how to play these heroes, and heroes that weren't really too prominent in this style of play. And thank you, we have a highlight. Oof.
This was quite the fight, because look at how low everybody sits for a while before they can finally finish off.
Yeah, and you see Mirror in the bottom right of the screen, always constantly just trying to play on the edge. Like, he's in their base, making sure he's able to just, cause that disruptive behavior, and then because of this stun, it sets up Collapse on the left-hand side of the map to then blink in once again, skewer him out. And I think, Yotaro, he is making this kind of buffer where once you skewer someone out, you still need to be able to kill that hero. And I think Yotaro, he's done a great job of making sure Ember is kind of disconnected from the fight, because the support duo had to very, clutch get that kill onto 23 Savage. Maybe you could argue the PL playing with the team with the Magnus there, quickly kill the TA and then move to the fight might have been better, but these fights are, if they get the jump, they have to kill quickly, and PL is soon becoming kind of unkillable, because Ember, he isn't really having the greatest of times with killing him. I think once PL has Skadi, much better. Yeah, now Ember needs to go, oh wait, I need a BKB, I shouldn't be dying to an Avalanche, a toss. Like, Moxie, when you play against like an Ember Spirit or this stuff as a support, you're like, these cheap stuns don't feel good, because he's going to dodge half of them, he buys a BKB, and then you do nothing. I think that's where he's kind of realized, wait a second, if I just buy this BKB, we just physically shouldn't be dying to the mana burn of the PL or the repositioning of the Magnus. So yeah, once they get BKB, T1 should be a little bit more confident in these fights.
As we say that though too, a lot of these fights I feel like are Team Spirit bringing the fights to T1. Yeah. And a BKB, you need to make sure you can press that button. But if you are locked down, for example, we just saw that there's a sheep stick picked up now on Toronto Tokyo. You've got all of these ways to just make it so if he presents himself, Collapse is just going to be running in, trying to get him just locked into place, and he might not get the chance to even hit the BKB.
It's true. I mean, T1, they're the ones who they were being the aggressors through most portion of the game, and it has been the kind of what is normally a safe place to be. That's where they've been punished. Spirit now smoking up once again.
They see you.
They have okay.
And again, Horn toss right back into the rest of the team. That Spirit Vessel's been coming in handy. They'll even go and commit the RP just to finish off the Kunkka. Zephyr rolling around here. He's giving a little bit of vision. I think he just wants to leave, though, in this case.
He's trying to leave.
Yatoro doesn't seem like he wants to allow this, but Toronto Tokyo, right place, right time. Ice Wall comes out. The Ava toss does have a little bit of waiting time here because he does have that shard, but...
Yeah, rather annoying shot, that one. Instant roll-up, just dodges everything. It's pretty
nice.
Cool. But yeah, Spirit, they go fishing once again. A lot of fishing talk in this game. But yeah, they go fishing once again, utilize that Hex like you mentioned, the pickup, they kill the Kunkka, and they go. Like, Kunkka, he realizes these fights are pretty messy, and he's just trying to go for that Aghanim. He's trying to, open up the water park and just make sure that if Spirit tries to enter, like, you can't allow this good positioning because, with all these torrents flying around. But T1, they're going to try and smoke up into this. Maybe Kunkka will buy back. They don't have outpost control, so this looks like it's just going to be a straight-up 4v5.
Savage does have a haste rune. Carl will be the first to show himself. Get a couple of these lights off. 3 Savage. Burst collapse. All right, there's not going to be any problem from this Magnus unless he buys back. Yatoro, though, does snatch up the Aegis as it gets over to the Dire. 23 Savage trying to just walk away. They've got the BKBs, so they're going to turn back around. They want to get rid of this Phoenix, and it looks like they'll be able to do it. It's a double kill now for 23 Savage. Buybacks are coming out, though. The Phoenix wants to be back into this fight, but they're handling this PL pretty well. As Collapse does get X'd up into place. Yatoro, though, they're just going to town over here on 23 Savage. But they won't be able to keep him alive now. 23 Savage, he is going to fall over on the back lines. The Hex is coming into play. Zephyr is going to fall, and now Carl, he's trying to get away. This mana is getting burned hard, though. It's a slide off, not quite enough to get Toronto Tokyo. Now they'll be able to find him at the last second as Carl burned down by the Sun Ray. A little bit of a heal coming out, trying to keep him alive with the slide. Yatoro says, oh, I thought you were already dead. Tries to go back in, but Miposhka already burns him out.
And now Ember's obviously dead for 120 because he had to buy back in, about 2 or 3 fights prior to that. His buyback won't be up for another, 3 minutes 30. So with Spirit being able to actually get the Aegis snatch, PL still holding onto it now, collecting the shard. Again, they can just walk up to this high ground, forcing out most likely going to be the Pango and the TA buyback. And they're going to be pretty happy with this.
Well, they even just deploy the troops down the bottom lane, and they'll march right over to the top to try putting some pressure over on these racks. Zephyr just trying to shoo them away by rolling forward.
They're just trying to
rolling
make sure
back in.
TA doesn't have to buy back here. That is the key thing.
It's a tall order. Ziatro diving hard over on Whitemon. Does have that tombstone up, has to be a little bit careful, but again, he does have an Aegis. Another wave over onto Yatro, and you know, cats don't like water, so he's gonna back off. He's gonna go right back to the barracks, but
What
can you do to him?
Fear factor. Right now, near nothing. Yes, your Ember and your Pangolier are kind of the key ones here, but they don't really have waves. You know, Team Spirit, if you look at the minimap right now, they kind of rushed to try and hit the racks, but meanwhile T1, they moved around, pushed out the waves, and you know, top's pushing into tier 1, mid's going to tier 2, like, yeah. T1, where Ember didn't have buy, they didn't actually lose anything, so that's just really good kind of just map movement and reading kind of where the creep waves are to be able to deal with the aggression of an Aegis PL.
Yeah, they did a great time defending because they didn't lose a single building during that entire time. There was a little bit of damage placed onto one of the racks, but
just the confidence from T1, I think, like, going into that Roshan fight, they went in without a Kunkka. They actually actively looked for a 4v5 fight. The PL snatched the Aegis. This could have been completely different. Like, that was they went for a clutch play, and that is scary when a team is so confident to try and make that style, because you know, some of these teams in this tournament, in this scenario, they'd look just to, you know, push out lanes, reset the game, let them have Aegis, play for the high ground defense. But no, they want to look for that fight, and that is commendable in itself.
now this seems pretty value right now, so we got a bunch of new neutral items that just got added in, but the Witchbane just got picked up on Phantom Lancer here.
He's going to be able to dispel some stuff. Very cool.
It's a decent amount of things to dispel, as though they go and they use the RP, toss up into the air, the Sunstrike, Toronto Tokyo cleans up on Carl. And they'll march right back into the space. There is no buyback, of course, on that Ember Spirit. And they'll just start chewing through buildings on the side of Team Spirit.
Yeah, this is inconvenient for T1 for sure. Like,
I think that's a bit of an understatement.
Yeah, again, I just praised them on their 4v5 Moxie. They once again now need to try and find a 4v5 out of somewhere. This is going to be difficult for sure.
Another Torrent connecting. Tidal Wave is just going to push back Yatro. Zephyr rolling forward again, trying to buy some more time. But again, it just seems like Yatro, he's so tanky. It's going to take a lot.
He has 4,000 HP.
I mean, look at this. It's just...
That was a cool Rolling Thunder, at least.
Yeah.
He hit him quite a lot.
Collapse again, doing what Collapse does best. Finds himself. Whitemon finds himself. Kick of the BKB does get activated, though, as this tidal torrent struck just everywhere. Waterbending coming out from the Kunkka, trying to keep everyone alive here. Mirror needs to be careful, though. Taking a decent amount of damage. Tossed back. Looks like they'll be able to take down Tiny. Yatro, though, has his eyes over to Whiteman. He's just chewing through the Undying. Even the illusions end up being the ones that take him for. So 23 Savage getting a little bit nervous. That tornado connecting over onto Kunkka is all sheeped up. Do they have the damage? He's a bit tanky, but they're just chasing him right through here on these tier 4s. It's a double kill for Yatro. The buyback coming out from Whitemon. He is just getting handled as you can just see this Phantom Lancer is just allowed to do whatever he wants to do in this space. It's a dieback on the Undying, and the buildings again just getting focused down by Team Spirit.
And then just Alacrity the guy and, you know, end the game. Woo. Yeah, Spirit. This is... Okay, one last smoke. One last hurrah for T1.
I like the fighting spirit.
They have to.
They have to. They do manage to find Toronto Tokyo, so that's pretty great. But you still have Yatro in your base, and he does not look like he is about to leave at all.
Yeah, TA doesn't enjoy this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what can she do?
I mean, watch her Ancient Die, Moxie.
That's what's happening.
That's what's going to happen, yeah. A bit slower than expected, but, you know.
It feels like the rest of the team is just there for moral support at this point because they know they can't do much. Although Collapse, you know, he's got to play with his food a little bit. He's got to find himself, you know, another willing victim as the RP comes out. 23 Savage is dead.
Whoa, okay, we're going to go for the... are we doing...
Collapse? Collapse? Is that they're going to be able to finish? No, they're not
it doesn't even die. Oh, then the Yules. That's it. GG.
GG indeed. Team